Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're getting into Zechariah chapter 10, specifically verses 1 through 12. It's a passage that talks about, well, big things: provision, restoration, and what real power actually looks like.
Absolutely. And it kicks off right away, verse 1, posing this fundamental challenge directly to you, the listener. Who or maybe what are you really trusting for the things you need?
Yeah, and the command itself is kind of surprising, isn't it?
It is. It says, ask the Lord for rain. Okay, sounds simple enough, but then it adds, in the season of the spring rain.
Which is when you'd expect rain anyway, so it feels a bit redundant.
Exactly. Why command people to ask for something that's, supposed to happen naturally?
Unless they'd stopped recognizing where even the expected things truly come from. Maybe they were looking elsewhere.
That's precisely the context the text gives us. It wasn't automatic anymore in their hearts. Verse 2 explains that the people, even their leaders, were turning to household gods, to teraphim and diviners, for rain, for basic provision.
Seeking essentials from false sources. And what was the result?
Well, verse 2 is pretty blunt. It says the idols spoke wickedness, the diviners saw lies, they told false dreams, and offered empty consolation. Just nothing real.
So it was all hollow. And the consequence for the people?
They suffered. The text says they wandered like sheep. They were afflicted, specifically because they had no shepherd, no true guidance.
And if we kind of bridge that to today, we might not have literal household idols, right?
Right. Probably not statues on the shelf.
But we definitely have modern substitutes, don't we? Things we rely on for security or, well, provision. Maybe it's our bank account, our job title, maybe even technology promising connection or answers.
Yeah. And just like those ancient idols, these modern substitutes, they can provide some things, but they often leave us seeking deeper things like real peace or purpose or that sense of true provision. They can't deliver the rain our souls actually need.
Okay, so that failure, that turning to false sources, seems to be the trigger for what comes next.
It is. There's a definite shift in verse 3. God declares his intervention. And interestingly, his anger isn't just at the idols. It's specifically against the shepherds, the leaders who misled the people.
The false shepherds. So if the corrupt leadership is being dealt with, where does true leadership and strength come from?
The text answers that directly in verse 4. It says, from him, meaning from the Lord, shall come the cornerstone, the tent peg, the battle bow, every ruler.
Wow. Okay. Those are very specific symbols. Let's unpack that a bit.
Yeah, they're powerful.
Wow.
Cornerstone, that's about foundation, stability, truth. The tent peg well, that secures your dwelling. It represents stability, home, security in your life.
Holds things together.
Exactly. And the battle bow, that's strength, defense, the ability to overcome challenges. And then every ruler, legitimate authority. All of it, the text insists, originates from God alone.
Not from human systems or false promises.
Precisely. And this declaration, it sets up this incredible promise of restoration that unfolds in the rest of the chapter.
Restoration for who?
For both Judah and Joseph, which is another name for Ephraim, representing the northern kingdom. So it's about healing that centuries-old division, bringing all the people back together, strengthening and saving them both.
How will that look?
The imagery is vivid. They'll be like mighty men trampling down their enemies in the mud of the streets because the Lord is with them. Their strength comes from him.
And there's that theme of gathering again, right?
Oh, absolutely. Verses 8 through 10 talk about whistling for them, gathering them from distant lands, explicitly naming Egypt and Assyria the places of their exile, bringing them home, making them as numerous as they once were.
It sounds almost too good to be true, especially coming from exile. Is it presented as an easy return?
Not necessarily easy, but definitely certain. Verse 11 has this amazing picture of overcoming huge obstacles. It says God will pass through the sea of troubles and strike down the waves of the sea.
That sounds like Exodus imagery.
It totally evokes that. And it mentions drying up the Nile, weakening these massive empires. The pride of Assyria shall be laid low, and the scepter of Egypt shall depart. It's a fundamental reordering of power.
So the forces that held them captive will lose their grip.
Completely. The ultimate promise, the capstone in verse 12, is, I will make them strong in the Lord, and they shall walk in his name. That's the foundation of their new reality.
So, boiling it all down, the message seems pretty clear.
I think so. It's fundamentally about where you place your trust.
Yeah.
Stop chasing these false sources, these empty promises, because they ultimately deliver, well, nonsense.
Right. True strength, true provision, true restoration. It comes from turning back to the actual source. Okay, so let's leave our listeners with something to chew on. Here's a thought. The people back then, they seem to have taken spring rain, a basic necessity, for granted, looking elsewhere for it. So, what necessity in your life, maybe something you rely on every day, do you currently just assume is automatic? And could that assumption be distracting you from seeking what you truly need and where it really comes from? Something to think about. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.